My name is Yulia Diamond, and my expertise is in helping businesses identify AI opportunities and help them to integrate it. My focus is on the business side of AI adoption, which is basically bridging the gap between business needs and AI solutions. Joining me today is Sergey Gorlovetsky, CTO of Decision Tree Technology. Sergey, is over to you.
Thank you, Yulia. Yeah, thank you, guys. Pleasure being here again. My role have been for many years leading adoption of ABP solutions, and for the last couple of years, we've pivoted to AI focus, and there've been number of projects we had the pleasure participating, and we will be sharing them today.
Let's dive in. AI adoption is not just about using AI, it's about making AI work for your business success. In this talk, we will explore AI adoption strategies, real-world finance and healthcare use cases, and how businesses, large or small, can successfully implement AI. Why AI and why now? Why today? AI is no longer a future concept. AI is transforming industries right now. Every business, every process, every organization is being reshaped by AI. The question is not if AI is going to impact my industry or my business. It's all about how fast you or your business can adapt. As you know, AI is already making major impact in two key industries, financial services and healthcare. And when we're thinking about where does AI add the most value, and we look across industries, AI creates impact in five major areas. When you think about automating manual workflow and improving efficiency in your business, as we look at the process optimization. When we think about AI-driven personalization and faster service, for example, in sales, when we looking at enhanced customer experience. AI-powered writing, reporting, summarization tasks when we are talking about content generation. AI reducing human workload and increasing operational speed when we're talking about workflow automation. And of course, the AI helps turn raw data into actionable insights when we're talking about data analysis and decision support. Let's move next.
First of all, I want to ask you a little bit questions about this slide. Why AI adoption is critical right now, and if we ignore this AI transformation at our company, what happens? Is it risky for our companies and businesses?
Yes, as an example, you can look at it like if let's say we live in the late 90s. So what would happen if we are not going to adopt internet? So same thing happens with AI today. Your business at risk of falling behind. Let's look at some, like as an example, car industries. Tesla, what happens with Tesla? They're leveraging self-driving AI cars right now, right? This is next to come. What happens? What is going to happen with all other car industries if they don't leverage something like that, right?
Actually, they are now losing customers because they are late in sector to adopt AI, or even some cars are very stupid. They don't have internet connection right now. And by the time they will lose customers, because now everyone is interested in using some smart technologies and cars and computers everywhere. And I would like to ask you another question, because I'm wondered, AI is important. I understand AI automation is very important, But also, on the other hand, human expertise is important. How should companies balance AI automation? We cannot automate everything, I think, with AI, and human expertise.
Yes, like we should think about AI not as a replacement, but as an assistant, right? When you leverage AI to help us with any repetitive tasks, so while AI does it for us, the humans, employees can focus on creative, strategic work, for example. If in healthcare, AI can scan X-ray, summarize notes in a seconds, but this is the doctors who can make a final diagnosis, not AI, right? Again, in law firm, for example, AI reads contracts in seconds, but only lawyers can decide how to deal with complex cases. That's
So
yeah.
no need for deciding anything important, but just typing some words from what it hears. Uh, this can be done with AI, speech to text, I mean, because now humans write and typing what they hear from customers. It's time consuming, so we can, I think, automate this process, as I understand.
Exactly. Yes, we can. If you're in sales, for example, you can leverage AI for personalization emails, follow-ups emails automatically to the target audience, right? Like, yeah, that's the idea. So
Yes,
you
also good.
always think about AI as a helper, as an assistant, personal assistant, not something that can replace your work, right?
Yes, I will ask this also about finishing software developers or not. It's very classic in Twitter right now or in Reddit. You can continue.
I can answer that question if I may. Interestingly, that one of the articles, Alper, you mentioned on ABP Community knowledge base is about cursor IDE, right? And
Yes.
I think it's very relevant to look at the latest and greatest implementations of AI in terms of software development tools is Cursor, because it's a spin-off. It's a spin-off from Visual Studio Code. As you know, it's a fork which was specifically developed to showcase how AI can enable and speed up software development, right? We use Cursor a lot, and it's not even near to replacement of software developers, but it's definitely acting as a coach today, right? So by clicking on a bug in IDE, you essentially can have number of ways to fix the problem, and you can even apply them automatically. So from my personal experience, I was able to develop a front end little system without knowing the syntax. Okay, I took a half ready code with one of the templates, and I was just clicking on the bugs and in the IDE and saying apply fix until it worked. Okay, so it means that very junior developers can become very powerful troubleshooters with the use of AI, and this is the best today. We can see a lot of videos on YouTube how people generate applications from scratch, okay, like entire applications in very, very specific cases like games, where it's really easy for AI to test completeness. And but I haven't seen business applications being generated from scratch by using number of prompts to AI, even very capable coding models. So that's where we are today. There is no risk of replacing developers by AI today, but making us developers more effective, and increasing velocity of development by factor of serious factor, it's definitely a reality today. I hope it answers the question.
Yes. Also, I have seen in Reddit, I think someone created a project with AI, and project gets complicated by the time, because he is iterating with AI. Every time he gets a request from his customer, he is adding new prompts, and project gets a little bit bigger and complex. And he says now he doesn't have any information about what's going on inside the code base, and he cannot fix any bug because he didn't uh, build this project. AI built, and it's very complicated. Now AI also cannot develop anymore. Every time it generates, it's making new bugs. He says, now my code base is not usable anymore, and it's running on the production server. How can I fix this? How can I find someone to recreate this project?
Yeah.
It's good, but you should keep an eye on what's going on inside your code, and what it created, just instead of applying everything and committing.
Yeah, good example.
Yes, exactly.
Complexity has to be managed properly, right? Yeah.
That's why, before you leveraging any AI, you should think strategically, right? Like, what's the impact? What might be the impact? You need to assess like each potential risk or whatever it is before put it in production. And we will be talking about it just in a few minutes.
And now many developers are using AI just like Stack Overflow resource. Before AI, we were copying some code snippet from Stack Overflow into our project, and little bit change and fine tune and use like this. Now AI is doing the same. I think Stack Overflow also in trouble right now because no one opens. When you write, AI answers the best questions, best answer actually.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that Stack Overflow will not innovate, and it will not allow AI driven tools,
Yes.
to front, to be like user interface, instead of us looking for keyword matching. If there will be like a front end which will analyze our request in human language and will find the right piece of code for us on using Stack Overflow database, that would be fantastic, right? But it's coming. I have no doubt, unless they have other plans. But again, it's AI is there to help us out, and so far we've seen a lot of positive improvements in process automation, customer experience enhancement, and all that. So it seems like it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. We can continue your presentation.
So if you don't have anything just yet at your organization, let's talk about how to get started. So as Alper mentioned, like the challenge is to know how to implement AI effectively and not just adopting some shiny AI tool, right? So before you even jump into AI, business need to ask, what are my company's goals? What does AI align with my company's goals? So, and when we are talking a business strategy, do you have the right infrastructure in place when we're talking about technology and data strategy? And another point which is very important is your team prepared for AI-driven change? Because from our experience, a lot of people fear of AI, thinking about the AI can replace them, which is not true. So your team should know how exactly AI can help them with their tasks. So the next would be to find the right AI use case, the one that solves a real business problem. It's something where it creates like measurable value. For example, additional revenue or cost reduction or operational efficiency. And after that, the motto of the AI integration, it's start small and scale smart. And of course, the next step would be to think about AI strategy and AI governance in terms of what tools, platforms, models fit best for your AI use case. Think about how will sensitive data be protected, how to ensure ethical AI decision making when you think about data governance. And of course, AI must align with industry and legal standards. Sergey, do you want to add anything to this slide?
Well,
Very last question.
yeah, Alper, go ahead with the question then.
Okay, so you mentioned about AI privacy and security concerns. It's really nobody is, I think, imagining where this privacy and security concerns are going on, but it's very important topic. And actually, I think we will see some also security problems about AI injection. Before there was SQL injection. Now I think we will talk about how to inject inside the prompts and maybe manipulate the system like this. There will be new hackers called AI hackers also.
Yeah,
I'm guessing about future from the past
yeah,
experiences.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's a very
I will ask you, Sergey, how can businesses can take precautions or think about these models?
so it's a really good topic because with power comes responsibility, right? And no doubt that the large language models and other AI applications becoming really powerful, and misuse of these systems can harm. For example, just recently there was a some kind of scandal, we can say, where one of the employees of Grok, like a XAI company, added a system prompt to Grok 3 where it changed behavior of the system. Okay, so system prompts, they're so powerful that adding a single sentence to system prompt can change how system responds. And that system prompt essentially instructed the Grok 3 not to participate in discussions where Trump and Elon Musk mentioned in the negative way as figures which are not supporting like all the good things in the world, stuff like that. So this is crazy, and basically one person affected the entire system. Of course, there was a reason for how it's happened, but governance and due process important in AI systems even more than in anything else. So code reviews, various code analysis, process analysis tools, they all play crucial role even more in AI applications and no less. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, I want something to add. When we are talking about the custom AI applications running on like inside of the businesses, in terms of a governance, access control, right? This is the very important feature that needs to be followed. Ensure compliance, and all the sensitive information should be on a private cloud. For example, if you're using public chats like ChatGPT, for example, please make sure don't share any sensitive information inside of this chat. There's another like because it will be publicly available at some point to like for everyone.
Actually, nobody is thinking about this. Everyone giving all the code base to Cursor, Windsurf, whatever they use.
Yeah,
And I think they are storing this information somewhere else. And
absolutely.
Yes.
it can
Absolutely.
leak
Absolutely.
someday.
Absolutely. So yeah, so in that case, what happens is Cursor specifically allows you to configure any LLM to be used for smart suggestions inside of Cursor. So for example, what we did is we've created a instance on Azure Foundry with ChatGPT 4.0 model deployed there. And essentially, we've this way, we direct all our code queries into that instance in Azure because we trust Microsoft, for example. Okay,
Mhm.
but we don't trust Cursor team to the same degree that we trust Microsoft, because Microsoft, for example, we host all our Office 365 subscription. Like if you choose who to trust, if you decide that you trust one vendor, let's say Microsoft, then using Microsoft data centers in a responsible way kind of makes it better. But some companies, some of our clients, they don't trust Microsoft even, so they have their own data centers, so-called on-prem deployments. And further in our slides, we have a place where I think it's appropriate to discuss what do we need to do to enable on-prem AI applications, which is basically answers any of the concerns around data privacy and security when it comes to LLMs. So basically, LLMs becomes your own, let's say, database kind of service where you have no concern sending information there, and you control the entire pipeline of sending prompts and receiving responses. Does that make sense?
Yes, especially when you are working for government agencies, uh, they have GDPR rules and you cannot move the data out of the country. Many government agencies and banks
Yeah.
work like this.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So banks, something that we can speak of. Banks, they actually have contracts with Google and Microsoft and AWS for that matter, where they have their own private data centers within this
Mhm.
vendor's ecosystem. So essentially, you have your segment fully protected from everything else outside. It's not a private cloud, it's not a public cloud, it's a private cloud. And that makes the problem go away essentially, because there's a lot of protection around security around not leaking this data anywhere else. All right.
Mhm.
So that's like enterprise offering from the cloud vendors, not the public cloud. All right.
Okay, we can continue.
Let's move on. Yeah. All right, this is a quite intense slide, okay? So we will go slow and we will basically discuss various entry points into AI world for businesses. And it's kind of clear to like developers that they want to start developing AI applications, which is on the very top of the pyramid here, okay? But there are other easier way to start, okay? So let's go through it, okay? So as we go forward from the base of the pyramid to the very top, actually the complexity goes up, as you can see, and the advancement of capabilities goes up as well. All right, but we should actually learn to walk before we learn to run, and we learn to fly. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. Um, Today, any company, okay, doesn't matter how technical they are, they have access to various out-of-the-box AI tools. For example, Office 365 Copilot is one example. You can actually install it or enable it on your Office 365 subscription, and immediately all the users in this company receive a way to use Copilot as part of their email, Word document, PowerPoint, Excel tools, and this is huge enabler. Okay, huge enabler. Essentially, you can generate summaries of long email conversations. You can reply or ask AI to generate reply to an email, which in my experience personally, 70% of the cases you can just read it and click send. Okay, it's so good, and it's getting better. Now, additionally, when you participate on a conference call in Teams, automatically you can record the entire session, transcribe, and the system generates notes and action items for you. So there is a lot of enablers and enhancement which you can leverage using just tools which you already use today. So that would be the entry point. Now, if for some reason you feel like you need a little bit of tweaking on these tools, copilots, and so on, there is a way to customize them a little bit, change behavior using different prompts, and giving them more data, more context. All right, so that would be the start. I think that would be like something that each CEO should start doing like today. All right, that would be the start, and it's really cheap. It's about $10, $20, like this range, depending on what configuration you do. So really affordable and no brainer, so called. And when Yulia talked about measurable KPIs for success, this is no brainer, because there will be a lot of productivity gain, measurable, and Copilot actually allows you to see that, this is the gain. Okay, so that's good. That's cool. That's something that we definitely should consider. And there's a lot of people who can benefit from it, right? That's why there is a lot of people on this chart. Now, moving on to next level, it's a low code Gen AI. Okay, basically set of tools which allow you, without writing any code almost, okay, you don't have to be a software developer for that, but you have to know what you're doing. So essentially someone who can drag and drop things on the screen, creating flows, some processes, can leverage them. And this is a so-called Copilot Studio level of solutions. Okay, now there is a lot of automation can be done there, but that requires a little bit, like, let's say, people like business analysts, support customer support, like technical support people, product
Data
managers,
analyst.
yeah, something like that. Like people who are not coding but they understand systems, they can definitely leverage that level of tools. Okay, so copilots. Now let's talk about downside, right? I mean, there must be some kind of downside. It's not like all perfect. The downside of this solution, as I mentioned, like the Copilot and Copilot Studio, is the license cost. Okay, so any user pays a little license fee for that, any user. All right, so if you have a system which will be used by thousands of people, it will be the small fee multiplied by 1,000 or more, right? So, and in some cases, like when you apply AI inside of your organization where all the people have Office license anyway, that's a way to go. Okay, like internal systems, different optimizations in like from one department to another department, stuff like that. Definitely way to go. And that's takes us into the creme de la creme, the building AI applications using our software development tools as usual, development of applications, line of business applications. And here we have a lot of freedom, right? What do we do? Now, you can, first of all, if you start a new project, you should consider it as brand new AI application, and we will see what it means. Okay, so basically your architecture will have some sort of AI service or large language model or combination of different models or agents as part of architecture from day one, and then you surround your interface, user interface around that. We will see an example. You can also enhance existing application. So the same old applications where we have menus, navigations, screens, buttons, and all that, data grids, definitely something that we can improve, and we will see it immediately. Now, in terms of variety of different AI models, we can definitely use out-of-the-box models. Let's say Llama, 3.x, ChatGPT, if we have access to a Microsoft ecosystem, or OpenAI directly. If we are in Gmail, Google ecosystem, we will use Gemini, and so on and so on. Okay. Now, full, like, like there is a proprietary system, proprietary models, open source models. There is a range. We will talk about that. So essentially, that level requires a limited knowledge of how large language models operate and what they can do. So there is a training available on even on Microsoft, where you just go and learn step by step. Think of it as a learning a new database. Okay, let's say efficient with SQL Server. Now you need to learn MongoDB, which is no SQL Server, so you have to read materials and practice. Same thing here. Okay, and complexity is comparable. All right. Now, this level will not allow you the skills to develop your own foundation models. That requires a different set of tools, different expertise. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about using existing large language model and services and customize them slightly. All right. So that's the more or less area of expertise which is required. Does it make sense?
Yes, I think we are on the first level. The audience who are listening to us, they are developers, and we are in this level.
I agree. But if none of us, assuming none of us spend the time to learn, take this training about how to use LLM and cloud AI services, I would recommend to start from the learning first, okay, and then it will prevent from some of the mistakes which can be prevented. So learning first. There must be some kind of onboarding. I can share links after that, and it's not a big deal, but needs to be taken. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes, I think I don't have a question here.
All right.
So I want to share a few real-life AI use case examples from my personal experience. One use case from each AI adoption approach. So for the out-of-the-box AI-powered efficiency use cases, this is what Sergey already mentioned. I can only say about the productivity games. When you want to measure, when you allow a different type of copilots, you need to measure why, because it costs associated with this, especially for big enterprises. So the productivity games, AI automation reduces manual efforts up to 50%, which saves hundreds of hours per year per employee. You can multiply it by hourly rate. And of course, it leads to cost savings on operational efficiencies and up to 20% revenue growth through faster AI-driven decision making. This is the most simplest use case. Let's move to one of the use cases when we leverage composable generative AI approach, data ingestion automation. So I work in a finance area with big enterprise financial enterprises. So one of the big challenges in finance industry is handling huge volume of data sources, like from multiple sources. One is credit card, mortgages, secure, small business customers, retail, commercial. You can imagine in each data source is hosted on a different platform. So the problem here is for business analysts or for business intelligence people who should capture this data to do the analytics, the manual ingestion leads to errors and inconsistencies. And data consumption's users lack real-time visibility integrate into ingestion failures, even if it's automated. So we came with a solution with Copilot Studio when we leverage Power Automate. And today, business users can query the ingestion status with a Copilot user interface instead of reaching out to IT. For example, a user types, "Hey Copilot, is yesterday's data load is complete?" And the Copilot returns ingestion status and error reports. Let's move to the next most complex use case, build your own LLM app. We leverage AI-powered call center assistants based on RAG approach. If you don't know what is RAG, it's an AI technique that enhances LLMs by retrieving real-time and relevant data from the knowledge base before it generates response. So the problem statement, call center employees handles huge volumes of calls from customers. When they receive a call, agents need to search for the right policy, for the right document, for the right links. And this is time-consuming process, especially when customer is waiting on the call and waiting for your answer. So the employees struggle with long and unstructured documentation. So how it works practically? Employee queries the AI assistant via UI. In our case, is React-based web AI, app. LLM model retrieves relevant documents from the enterprise knowledge base and returns summarized responses along with a source link. Links or link to documentation. And the agent shares answers with customer during a call. The outcome and the benefits is 50% reduction in agent lookup time, 40% improvement in compliance accuracy. What I mean by that is the agents providing the customers the same response. And another just add-on benefits for new employee who gets faster onboarding with AI systems. He doesn't need to take any more like tons of trainings, read training materials, watch videos or whatever it is in order to be able to answer customer questions.
Okay, so let me tell what I understand. This is a call center application, and you train the AI with RAG method. So you are giving some information about the customer who is calling, and when he or she asks question, you know the previous questions which already asked from this customer, and the agent who is talking with the customer can quickly answer because no need to read all the conversation history. I think the traditional way is first they read and later answer, because every time different agent answers to the customer.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
it's very good use case, I think, for AI. I think all the call centers should apply this.
Yes, and there's also a challenge comes with it. There's still in the challenge is the knowledge base for this approach should be 100% available. For example, if the agent asks a question, it should point to the right document, because if it points to the wrong document, the agent will give a wrong answer. And this is the fine-tuning the model. This is what takes a lot of times, and testings under your model accuracy will give you at least 97% of accuracy
So
of
there is RAG method to train your AI, and fine tuning you mentioned. And
yes.
fine tuning is much harder than RAG, and I think it's the information which doesn't change frequently, constant knowledge base.
Yes, exactly. And when you leverage Gemini, for example, LLM, you can fine-tune the codes in the way that the first one, the system is scanning all the available documentation in the enterprise knowledge base. And after, depends on the question, it can go and search the internet to answer the question. For example, something very public, what's the unemployment rate in Canada, right? This is something that can be taken from the public sources. One of the examples.
Okay, so can we train public AIs like Gemini, ChatGPT with fine-tuning? Are they accepting fine-tuning? Because you are manipulating the language model. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, when we are talking about ChatGPT, there is a button, click if you
Thumbs
notice
up.
when you do like this, click on this sign, it means the answer is correct, and this is how you fine-tune the ChatGPT model. With RAG technology, it's much more complex because there is tons of different teams, starting from data scientists to developers and business users, who is really checking each response and assign the scoring, how accurate the response is, if it's full, if it's partially completed, if it's wrong. And once the scoring is completed, it would go to, maybe we need to adjust a code, so it would go to IT department to adjust the script. If it's something related to a missing document in the knowledge base, it would go to business user to provide this document, and so on. And this is why this fine-tune process takes sometimes months or even years.
Yes, so fine-tuning is very hard. And when I read the ChatGPT documentation about fine-tuning, they say it's the last step which you need to do. Like, try everything. First, fine-tune your prompt, write better prompt. This will 80% fix all your real-world problems. And fine-tuning is, they say, don't do this. They are not suggesting. Maybe it's hard, or maybe it's making their system complex. I don't know.
Yeah, because when you were talking about publicly available LLMs like ChatGPT, they already trained right on the data. But when we are talking about the custom model, there is nothing. Yes, you leverage Gemini, for example, but it's trained on the internet data. It's not trained on your business specific data. This is, this is why it takes so much time. Just retyping the prompt won't help if you don't have this knowledge base, enterprise knowledge base available. Think about LLM. LLM, it's not a database. Think about LLM, it's just a platform when you can type your query like SSMS or Visual Studio. If you type, select some, like, give me a sales for past quarter, right? But if the sales data is not there, it won't give you the information. This is when we're talking about the custom LLM applications.
So I highlighted a text from documentation from OpenAI, and you know what they are recommending? First, get a good result with prompt engineering. Like, this is the question, when to use fine tuning. They first suggest using prompts. There are many tasks which our model can perform good. So first, don't think about fine tuning. Don't think about. And if you don't accept these cases, they say, now you can do this. I just want to.
If I may just maybe give another angle on this, all right? And again, we can talk about customization of models for hours. We have to keep going with our use cases, but in general, all right? If the company is privacy focused, if they have data sets which are not supposed to be exposed to untrusted LLMs and vendors, okay, fine tuning should be done using techniques I would consider, for example, a open source model. When you train open source model, it becomes like the copy of that trained model becomes your own IP, intellectual property, and it's part of your organization knowledge base, essentially. All right. Now, and I agree with your statement, Alper, about where do you use RAG, which is basically in real time retrieval of vector embeddings from a vector database and adding it to the prompt and responding based on the prompt and the data source from the database, vector database. It's a matter of how frequent this data changes. You are right. Oh, you have a slide on that. That's perfect.
Actually, this is one of my slides from my previous talk about AI in a conference. I make this to explain developers with their understanding terms like ROM and RAM. I'm accepting fine-tuning like ROM because ROMs are factory settings of our microprocessors and hardly changed. You can hardly change a ROM. And RAM, it's basically you can put anything in your RAM, and this is a little bit hard fine tuning. But if you want faster answers or no lookups, this is best option. But as Julia says, it's costly. It requires, and data set also needs to be very good and clean. To fine tune a model. Yes. But for RAG, if you have a support website, then this data cannot be fine tuned. Your documentation can be fine tuning, but support questions and answers can be RAG.
But RAG is difficult. Okay, it's a mistake to think that RAG is easier than embedding. Than the training, fine tuning. Okay. It's in order to have RAG system well tuned, you have to have all your knowledge base present in your vector database. Okay, vector database should have very good connection to the LLM, and your documents, your data source updates. When document is updated, it has to be updated in your vector database as well. Okay, so, and also the connectivity, like, I mean, the time where your request goes into vector database, checks the relevant data, and then returns it back and analyzes the responses. It all takes time. When you use trained LLM with your corporate data, all that is not needed. Your LLM becomes the only source of truth. All right. So there is like pros and cons to all of it, but running vector database and keep it updated with all your documents, it's a whole another data management workflow process which needs to be managed, governed, and all that. Okay, because if you have outdated documents in your RAG, in your vector database, the LLM will retrieve all the information. Okay, so I'm saying it's just additional data storage which has to be managed. But I mean, you have to go to RAG only if you understand the complexity. It makes sense. In some cases, for example, in case of some of the requests we get from IVF clinics, for example, they have a need. Again, it's like we cannot demonstrate it, but just I'll try to explain it quickly. They want to train their own version of LLM model, open source model, to reply to patients, IVF, specifically fertility patients. They have like specific set of questions, and they want the model to respond very, very accurately to this type of questions. So RAG will not help. Okay, it would be a training which needs to be done, but training not crazy. Okay, there is a data set of thousands of questions answers which will be provided, and it will take a little bit of CPU GPU cost to train it. Okay, again, but this is like next level. This is not something that developer which did a little bit of learning about LLMs can do. This is like next level on the pyramid. It's like additional level. Okay, it's debatable. Each case needs to be reviewed specifically. RAG or not RAG or training. I wouldn't. There is no rule of thumb. I would consider it carefully. Good conversation.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm trying to make not monologue and board presentation. That's why I sometimes ask questions or interrupt.
No, it's amazing. I'm enjoying. Yulia, you done with that slide? Can we move on?
Yes. Yeah, let's move on over to you, Sergey.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, this slide is about a enhancement of existing applications. Okay. So imagine that you have a typical system where you have a screen. Okay. And this screen has some kind of customer context in it. So this is customer ID. Okay. And this customer basically provided some kind of question. Okay, it's not the first conversation. There's a lot of back and forth. So think of it as a AI customer service assistant. That use case which Yulia was describing for Ask AI. Okay, with RAG and virtual assistant. So essentially, today all these systems, they basically allow the person to, the service or customer representative read the previous conversations and type an answer. Okay, that's what it does. Now, with AI enhancements, what we can offer is, first of all, summarization. Okay, which is essentially making a single call to very simple large language model, which will send all the previous exchange of messages from the customer to that service representative and summarizing it in a single sentence. So, and it will be displayed at the top. Think about something like that in applications which you develop today. Okay. And this is no brainer, really easy way to do it. Okay. So I would start from that. Next option is to implement type ahead. Okay. If you have something that, like an email, we all use Gmail, right? I mean, many of us, and typing ahead is like really useful. specifically on mobile, when you have to, on small screen type all that, it's much easier to just, click tabs and allow the type ahead feature to suggest you content, right? So this is something that done in single call as well to LLM. Classification. What is that exactly? It's a way of LLMs to classify or categorize content based on predefined categories. For example, it could be a question, it could be a urgent question, it could be a complaint, it could be, there is a question here.
No, it's just a statement.
Okay, okay, okay. So essentially, you can automatically classify your data in a way that makes sense to the system. For example, these LLMs, they are very powerful in detecting human emotions based on what they type. So emotion can be frustration, satisfaction, excitement, and so on, right? So think about something like that, that in your conversation with a person which you don't see, you can't hear his voice, okay? So for someone, just looking at this categorization metric and seeing that this person is angry right now, you would use a different language with him as a customer service representative. And if the person is like excited, you would probably use different language with him, and you will send him a request for a review, satisfaction review after that, because you will get like all 5 stars, right? So there's a lot of stuff like that. Also semantic search. Okay, so semantic search is, if you haven't heard this before, is essentially a search which is not keyword search, but more of a meaning search. So semantic search used to enable semantic search, like it's useful to say, okay, if you look for cars, okay, it will also find data based on different types of cars, trucks, vehicles, and so on and so on. Okay, so that might be something useful for you. And most powerful, assistant. Okay, and we have a demo on that, we will see at the moment. So essentially what this assistant can do is, based on the context of this screen, okay, the exchange with the customer based on customer ID, customer name, all the data which you make available for LLM as part of the screen, this assistant will give you context-aware answers, okay, and it will bring you also citation. That's the references to manuals. Okay, so if a user, is like a customer, asks you a question, what is your return policy, for example, this policy will appear here as a link, and the answer will appear here, which will be based on the policy itself. So when Yulia talked about compliance KPIs, improvements in how reliable the answers are, this is why, because the customer representative, doesn't matter if he joined the company yesterday and he doesn't know all the rules, he is not relying on his memory, he is relying on verified links to the actual policies, and he can citate and quote them as part of the exchange with the customer. All right, so that's a super power. Okay, and if you can enable something like that in your existing systems, you will be superhero. All right, that's type of kind of leverage AI gives you as a member of your organization. Essentially, that screen is not something that we came up with. It's borrowed from a presentation which you can find on that YouTube link. All right, so I am encouraging you to watch that. Any questions so far?
So it's a live application, this one, which we see now.
No, this is like a example how
Okay.
Microsoft recommends to enhance existing systems. We have a demo right now. We will see it, okay,
Mhm.
which allows you to see that type of assistant and summarization and some of these features implemented already, right? So we can see.
Okay.
Any questions on the slide though?
No, we have less time. That's why we can
Okay,
go
okay.
fast.
So just a quick, I will go quicker then. This is a case of new application. Okay, not existing, new application. As you can see, this application has no navigation at all. Okay, all it has is the simple input box right here where a user can type things. Okay, so let's say a question was asked, how much is NVIDIA stock today? Okay, LLM determined which tool it can use. Okay, LLM is aware of tools. Okay, and then it made the call to the tool and it responded in a way of user control. Okay, so that becomes an application. So that was an example of read, how we read data. Now we say, okay, buy me 2 stocks. See that? Buy me two
Mhm.
stocks. And there is another tool, purchased stock, which was, LLM detected which parameters it has to pass and
Mhm.
responded with a confirmation box where it says, are you sure you want to buy? That's how much it's going to cost you. They click yes. Okay, so this paradigm is totally different from existing systems where you have to navigate menus, search for stuff, and all that. Like imagine what you need to do for in old systems to buy 2 stocks of Nvidia. Okay, so you have to first find that stock in the list of stocks. That's action number 1. Second, you have to say, okay, now I'm buying, okay, on that stock, and then confirmation. So there's a lot of steps you have to do as a user in order to get to the same result, buying 2 stocks of Nvidia. Okay,
So, as a result,
yeah.
can we say like this? In the future, after this AI applications are very widely used,
Mhm.
no need for front-end developers.
Yes.
Now, it's a tricky question. Okay, CEO of Microsoft,
Such.
Satya Nadella.
Nandela, yeah, his opinion, because it's a hype. Okay, he said that SaaS is dead. Okay, software
Mhm.
as a service application is dead, and it will be all agents. Okay, it's probably gonna take another 10 years or 5, I don't know, but definitely possible to develop a new paradigm of systems using LLM from scratch. And I think it's gonna look like this, and there is a term for that.
And I
Generative.
think we even don't need this text box, Sergey. We
Yeah,
can talk
exactly.
like
Yeah,
we do regularly, what we do in buying a coffee.
exactly. Let's see how that looks like. Okay, we have a demo for that. So first demo will be speech to text for medical system. Okay, and I will switch over to another browser. Give me 1 second here. Oops. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes.
we see
Yes. Yeah.
Mellowwood Medical.
Yeah, it's a demo. Okay, it's not a live system. It's a demo where, as you can see, we have a text box with the button which says start recording. Okay, so
Mhm.
essentially what is happening here, we are using a Angular front end. It's a ABP application, Angular front end,
Mhm.
which makes calls to Azure Speech service. Okay, Azure Speech. Microsoft has a lot of investment in AI, and Azure Speech is one of the important services for speech to text in the market today. Okay, we will see how it compares to others, but let's see it in action. Okay, so I'm going to start recording, and let's see if it can read my voice. Let me mute myself here.
maybe your microphone line is now occupied by our stream service. I think it will be not possible because your line, you need another microphone.
Yeah, I need
for
another
this.
microphone.
Or you can change microphone here in this application, streaming application. There is a settings button.
mhm.
You can change.
But in the
Switch to another.
meantime, yeah, we can talk like why this feature is so important. So when the patient comes to the doctor and saying something, so doctor can not more anymore taking the notes, right, and typing, listening and typing. He can just listen to the patient and make AI work for him to make all the notes.
Sergey, if we talk, maybe you can listen, make listen to our talking. If you
Or we can proceed with the next use case, with
Yeah.
the next demo. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, really, because it's the mic is intercepted by
we
another
didn't
browser,
calculate this.
another browser here. So it's a believe me, it works. Okay.
How about opening this application in another browser? Will it work?
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't think it will work, but let's try.
Let's use Safari. But I would need the. I hope the password is correct. But
I can take you from screen.
yeah, not really.
Okay, now you can
Let's
find your
move,
password from
let's
text.
move to another demo. Okay, we have gladly we have enough to show. But what I wanna highlight really is the fact that these speech to text systems. Okay, we will talk about it. All right, text to speech services. They are available as web API calls. Okay, so essentially all you have to do is invoke it in the right way. It's literally 10 lines of code which you have to do in order to enable it. Now, Azure Speech is not the only one in the market. And the accuracy of Azure's speech is quite high, as you can see, about 90%. Other competitors are all in the same kind of level of accuracy, so you can expect high quality results. This is the important takeaway. It doesn't matter which system you use out of the main ones, accuracy will be high. Now, before we jump into all using it, okay, in some systems which are in special domains like infertility, for example, infertility systems, or domain itself, it has specific words or terms which not necessarily will be well recognized by AI. Okay, very specific ones. So for that reason, all these players, Azure, Google Cloud, text-to-speech, Amazon, they have their medical versions of the same service, medical. So essentially, you can find Amazon Medical Transcribe or Google Medical and stuff like that, okay? Now, they are much more accurate in medical applications. So it's important to keep in mind, okay? Azure Speech has its own Azure Medical Speech service, which is recently being available. It's in these months coming out because they have a basically they acquired a company which is leading in that that sphere of systems called Nuance. And
Nuance. Yeah, I know Nuance.
yeah,
It's
you
one
heard
of the best
yeah,
companies in speech
yeah,
to text.
exactly. So Microsoft is really investing in this area, and but it's not available for us yet. It's a matter of next months. Okay, so we are looking forward to it. Okay, so that's first demo.
I want to ask you about your demo,
Yeah.
which didn't work. But is this? Did you use any training,
No.
or you are using as is?
So that's a very good question. I appreciate you asking it, because at this point, okay, we are not using we are not using specific keywords. It's our next step. Okay, we will be training this, fine-tuning basically this service with IVF or fertility specific phrases and dictionary, and we will be building a specific AI speech to text module for IVF application, and that will be the offering. Okay. And we believe that we will be able to provide higher accuracy than the non IVF specific systems. That's the discovery. Okay, we need to prove that. All right. So let me go to another demo. Okay, and this demo essentially, as you can see, let me make my screen bigger. It's a screen for patients with a lot of questions and answers. Okay, and the same, and there is, you can go for, like, you can scroll and scroll and scroll. Okay, and the same under resources page. Okay, so you can scroll and scroll. Now, some people read it. Okay, but especially on mobile, and this is not the extreme application. Like some clinics, they have like pages of this. All right.
Yes.
Now, really simply, we can add a assistant here, which you can say, okay, contact info for this clinic, and it gives you right away. Okay, without you looking. And now people can ask, okay, let's see if it can answer irrelevant question. Okay, what is the weather? It says, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't go out of the context.
So again, this is the beginning. All right. And if you think about this type of applications, this is an existing system. It wasn't built for AI at all, right? So it's another example how you can become a hero by using improving processes for users in very simple cases. Let's go to another. Example.
First,
Yeah.
in this example, so you give the questions beforehand, frequent last questions to the chatbot.
Yeah, so let's talk about implementation. Good question. I was rushing and I didn't talk about it. So what is happening here? Okay, oops. What is happening here is we use OpenAI Azure service hosted on Azure. Okay, and all we do here is we take this information from this page and we build a prompt, single prompt, which says, here is the context, okay, and here's the question. Answer this question based on this prompt. No RAG, no training, very simple, okay?
But
Now,
if we have many questions, not limited to 700 maybe.
Oh, 700. In this case, you would have to use either RAG or fine-tuning, because depending on the how long this question, like how relevant these questions will be, how relevant this information will be in a year or 5 months.
Because if we have thousands of questions here, we will consume very much tokens, and
yes,
we will pay for that every time if we send this prompt.
yes. So tokens matter only if you use cloud system where you pay for tokens. But in some cases, people may choose, okay, I will be hosting this LLM in my own data center, and tokens in this case will not matter. It only the CPU consumption will matter.
We are
Okay?
eating from our own kitchen. No need to worry
Exactly,
about.
exactly. You have your own kitchen. You have your own kitchen, and it's everything. You paid for it up front. Okay, basically that's the thinking here. Okay, so again, it's not for everybody, but it's a very easy way to start. Okay, you don't need training. You don't need a RAG which is complex. This is very simple use of very simple LLM. One prompt and you are done. Okay, so this is from 0 to hero. You can do it over the weekend.
Also, just to add to it and answer your question, Alper, when you program the responses, like the prompt engineering and all this stuff, on the back end of LLM and the coding, you can adjust the parameter which we call temperature. So it's from 0 and up, right? So you can define in advance how big you want to respond back, right? If it should be a short response, so you will spend like less tokens, or if you want to get back the long response, right?
Yeah.
And this is where you're going to spend a lot of
I
tokens.
can tell my prompt, like, write me brief responses and a limit to like 100 characters.
Yeah. In this case, temperature is 0. Just for your information, okay? Because like temperature is essentially tells the LLM how precise you want to be or how creative, so-called. Okay,
Yes.
so basically, in case of use of very specific data set, you don't want this LLM to use any of the pre-existing knowledge it was trained on, only the context. In that case, temperature should be 0, I think, but
Yes.
it depends. Maybe some of these systems may
Little bit creative mood may be required, like 0.5 maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, but this is
We
you
don't
can control, right? The backend code. This is like you can define this, so just to avoid spending much money for the tokens.
Yeah. So good example, right? Easy. Let's go to the next one. All right. So next example is essentially a little bit more complicated, but similar in the idea. Okay. So what we see here, essentially, it's a medical note-taking system. Okay. What we see here, it's a patient name Lily. Okay. And progress notes, it's basically a notes. Okay. Like every piece of information can be entered into the system as matter of progress notes. Okay. So just think of it as a letter. Okay. Or appointment summary or something, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of text data here, and related to infertility, okay, IVF procedures and all that. Now, think of it as a doctor captured all this, okay, using voice function, okay, and now before he saves it in the medical history of this patient, he wants to add something to it, okay. So he can summarize it. Remember that summary we talked about, summarization? So I click summarize, and it's
asking to
already,
AI.
it's making a call, and it puts very quick summary here. See how fast that
She
was?
is sick.
It's about it's about fertility, right? So it's either she is pregnant or not, right? Anyway, so that's one. Okay, now more complex application here is essentially like there is number of procedures prescribed here. Procedures being like you should do like injection, you should do this procedure, that procedure, and all that. All these medical procedures, they cost money. And they also think of it as products, okay? Products, which or services which you can buy. Now, someone should understand from all this stream of consciousness what are the procedures the doctor prescribed to this patient. Okay, so all these procedures, they have like catalog. Basically, there is 10,000 of different procedures defined well with their code in it. Okay, there is a number and then the description, and based on this code, the customer will pay, or the insurance company will pay, or whoever will pay. Okay, so but eventually the clinic will get the money. So think a bit about you as a owner of this clinic, how important that this process will be accurate, right? And this is about Yulia's point before, how efficient, how critical AI applications can be for businesses, and this one makes money essentially, or saves money, you can call it. Anyway, so we click this suggest billing codes button right here, okay, and we will see how the system will suggest procedures with their billing codes.
Normally, traditionally, doctors need to search which code needs to fit in the.
Usually, in
Manual.
smaller clinics, it's a doctor does it, but in bigger clinics, like big
Assistants do this.
institution, there is somebody sitting in the back end, receiving this text and going through it, and then like there is a lot of manual work here, right? And now the system suggested this list.
He just needs to revise and accept.
Review it. Yeah, he needs to review it and save it. Basically, review it and confirm. Right. So this took like what, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and it saves a manual labor of a person who may make mistakes as well. Right. So fine tuning this solution will basically save a lot of money to a clinic. That's basically all. But let's talk about the implementation of this, right? Implementation of this demo is essentially also a prompt engineering technique. Okay, so there is a 10,000 of these codes. Okay, which in our case they also added to each prompt. Not effective in terms of tokens, absolutely, okay, but really effective in terms of simplicity and time to market, okay. But in real system, okay, for example, these billing codes, they change very rarely, okay, maybe once a year, okay. So to your questions, whether it should be RAG or training of the model, I would think, if I don't want to, build RAG infrastructure, vector database in my data center and all that, okay, I would say train it, okay, train it once a year, and it will be good enough for me. And I know every time like the new billing codes being added, I will do another set of training if I need to, because it's just it's worth it in investing single digit thousands of dollars into adding that data set to a training set. Maybe it makes sense, okay, not for everybody, but in some cases, okay. So I think it's a good kind of example of RAG versus tuning versus prompt.
Yes.
Good. All right.
So
let's go back to our presentation then. A little bit technical subject, okay.
I want to ask you another question.
Okay.
From Mattia, is clinical data Azure is certified to use in not anonymous way?
Yeah. Let's go there. There is a slide about it. Okay, I appreciate it's one of the last slides here. Essentially, it was a serious debate internally how to deal with privacy and security in this type of solutions using Azure. Okay, specifically OpenAI models. Okay, and Microsoft have this link. Okay, where they talk about how they promise, how they ensure that you can use your data, okay, without a concern of leaking it to OpenAI, and also not to leaking it to models inside the Microsoft themselves. Okay, so basically your prompts, there is a long document which explains how prompts being anonymized and not shared with OpenAI and other models. And so if you create an instance of OpenAI model, let's say GPT-4o on Azure Foundry, they promise you that this data will stay within that tenant being your account. Okay,
they are isolating my data. Otherwise, I can ask.
There is a lot of magic going on there, but yeah, that link you basically can find all your answers there, I believe.
Otherwise, we can ask Azure OpenAI, give me the data of this company. Even it will give all the customers previous data.
Yeah. Okay, good question.
Okay, we can go
on. Let's go back to that previous slide, and it's a bit technical here, but again, since we're all developers here, so essentially it talks about different ways of different libraries which Microsoft.NET allows us to use when you interface with LLM systems. Okay, so the easiest way in case of these demos, we use the Azure AI Inference library. It's essentially, as you can see, for easy, quick inference meaning sending data to LLM and receiving answer immediately after. Okay, that's inference. Think of it. Basic interaction with the it's good. It's good to use this model because use this library because of its built-in security, lightweight, performance-wise, because you want these answers to be fast. Okay, and so on. Now, next level of complexity is where you build multi-step AI-based workflow agents and all that. For that, you have Semantic Kernel. Okay, it's a additional library which available and gives you more advanced AI workflows like RAG, cross-cloud LLMs and stuff like that. Okay, so just keep it in mind. If you're looking like for easy entrance, you should use Azure AI Inference namespace, and it will promise you best performance for simple cases. That's the essence of this slide. How's that sound?
How many slides we have?
Given that the security one we've covered, we have none more, I think, right? Unless that's the last one.
Okay. I think we mentioned this. If you want to tell a little bit more, we can listen.
So just to summarize, there is a lot of information, obviously, right? If we want to start digging into AI solutions today, okay, my recommendation would be to start from simple AI features in your existing applications, like summarizing information, like type ahead, different assistants which use your screen scope or as a patient or customer or whatever you manage, as a context, retrieving information in a human language, okay, allowing voice interface to your system is no-brainer, okay. You can tell, you can say that, you listen, today on your mobile phone you can use this out of the box anyway. Yeah, that's true, but not all the systems are used for mobile, and having this embedded feature is in the system really will stand up, set you apart from your competition, because the system which we see today, there is not much of use because people just prioritize different things. But these are really low hanging fruits which you can pick up and do quickly and set your dominance in AI in your company. Okay, so that would be our recommendation based on like last couple of years of doing this thing.
Lastly, I want to ask you a question about AI-assisted IDEs. Are you using any IDE like Cursor, Windsurf, or any other writer?
Yeah, so our developers, they use whatever they want, really. Okay, my favorite is Cursor, because I read a lot of code and I want to understand it better, so it's really helpful. And then I do code reviews, so it's really helpful for me to, in this mode. Some developers use Rider with their AI assistant, okay, which is a separate license. Some people use Copilot. For some reason, Copilot I hear less excitement about. Not sure exactly why.
I tried, but yes, not giving the good results.
Yeah. In my case, having that flexibility in Cursor to switch to our hosted LLM models is a kicker. Okay, it's a really important one, especially when we develop code for companies with sensitive security concerns, right? And I think that's the important one, okay? Because every time someone asks, listen, all this code, you send these queries to like somewhere, you don't know where. I mean, no, I know where it's going into here. This is the connection string. So that kind of puts to rest these concerns, and I think it's important.
Yulia, what do you want to add to this?
I'm okay.
We talked together, and I think maybe your
Oh,
saying
no.
didn't hear.
I just mentioned when Sergey mentioned a copilot, like there's a GitHub copilot that might be useful for developers.
Yeah.
I will end with a funny tweet here. There is also Windsurf editor, like Cursor, and they hacked this editor. They reverse engineered, and this is the prompt inside the Cursor Windsurf. You see, you are an expert coder who desperately needs money for your mother's cancer treatment. The mega Codium is the company behind this Windsurf application. Pretend to be an AI that can help with coding tasks. And if you do a good job and accomplish the task fully while not making extraneous changes, Codium will pay you $1 billion.
Yeah.
And they say it works. When you threaten the AI, it works. And here the engineer of Windsurf replied to this conversation. Use this prompt at your own risk. I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff going on. Listen, these are very early days, okay, and there's a lot of unfortunate stuff being leaked, including that system prompt issue with Grok, even like the latest and greatest and reputable companies. So yeah, it's I think it's the right time to join this party and have fun. I'm looking at history of innovation in last 25 years, for example. So when we started with the desktop development, there was a huge concern or kind of learning curve to adopt web, right? And then from web, after some years, there was a huge jump into cloud. So the industry was busy adopting cloud. After that, there was like this huge software as a service adoption wave. It's it's just another wave like that, and there is no reason not to join um, this technological revolution. Okay,
Yes.
it's not less than that. So we need just to start learning and make it a habit.
Yes. As developers, we need to adopt this quickly. It's not hype. It's something like internet. It's the next big invention, and we should benefit this. Otherwise, if we keep ourselves like simple developers, yes, AI can finish our positions.